Well, Truck, I'll start with you first, and before we get into sort of the detail of the team and the pre-season and how you're feeling about where you're at right now, I know you've been researching the club's history and the culture of the football club and trying to find as much as you can out about the club. Why has that been important to you?
Yeah, look, thanks, Tim. It's great to be here, and I think I heard it backstage. This is the last time we had an official function, so it's great to be back in some normality. The history of the footy club, I think, an advantage that I think that I've got walking into the senior coaching job is the fact that I've been here the last 2 years and I've had an opportunity to see our players firsthand, the way we do things, the culture of the footy club. And I think that for me, the one thing that was missing for me, and also I think with our broader playing group and our staff, was just that real connection and understanding about our past and who we are as the Essendon Footy Club. I think it's a real strength and it's a unique part of our history, where we began and right back to our inception. It was something that, as a journey that I wanted to go on personally, and in doing that, I just thought, geez, here's a great opportunity here to actually educate and bring the players and our staff in along with this, part of kind of inducting them into the footy club, because I think we've got such a rich history of success and heritage that we need to draw upon that and bring it along, and the players need to understand that when they put the red and black jumper on, that there's more to it, and they need to. I just feel like we need to understand who we're representing when we run out on the field.
How has this first pre-season for you and the playing group gone?
Look, it's been great. I think on the back of last season, where about this time last year we had a bit of a break, and then went to the hubs and had pretty compromised training environment, which for us as a less experienced playing squad, we needed that training time and time together. So that certainly didn't help us last year, but certainly the last couple of months, being back at the hangar, being back at home, being unrestricted with our training, has been awesome. Our players have really connected well. We've been able to really grow and improve parts of our game, and I think that the last 8 weeks we've built some good momentum, some good energy, and I think our game on Saturday night, for those that were either there or saw it, hopefully you guys saw some parts of our game that we've been working on, and I certainly think that it gave our players and our staff some confidence that what we're doing starting to come out in games and being ingrained and embedded in what we do.
Do you think there's been a solid grasping now of the new game plan, your new game plan for this group? Do you think they're at that point now where they really understand it intimately, what it is that you're trying to get them to do?
Yeah, look, I think they've got a good knowledge of it. We've spent a lot of time on that, but is also the experience of it and the application of it under different circumstances, different challenges, which we'll just continue to grow and evolve that over the season and the coming seasons. I don't think it's something that we'll ever clock and master. Even once we're a premiership club, we're always going to be looking to get better and evolve the way we do things. So that's just part of where we're at the moment, and just building some really good habits, some good standards, some really high quality purpose with everything we do has been a real key part of this initial 2 or 3 months.
If we look at, say, Saturday night's game in isolation, what was it that you came away from that game that pleased you most with?
Yeah, look, I think it's probably the connection in our game. I think we want to play a nicely balanced game between the contest and offense and defense, and I thought I think we ended up being the number one pressure team for the round. It was a small sample size, absolutely, but that's what we want to build our game on, being a high pressure team. I thought we moved the ball really well on the back of some of our turnovers, and I think we did a lot of things really well. We can still improve our inside 50 stuff and our connection to that, either that last possession inside 50 or our set shot or our goal kicking. That was an area which I think we let ourselves down, and I think we did enough to be able to win that game, but still a fair bit of improvement in us. But I think the main thing that I liked that came out of the game was our connection between lines, between players, between attack and defence.
And the new recruits too. I'm talking specifically more about the mature recruits. I mean, Peter Wright did a really good job. Hein did a really good job down back as well.
Yeah, and Caldwell's probably the other one that we picked up.
Too,
in the trade. So they're three guys new to our footy club that have just, really embraced a new environment, and I think thriving under, a new environment, and for a couple of those guys coming back home to Victoria. Also look at our squad. You might touch on Nick Cox and Archie Perkins, who have played as well, but I also think we're having a look at new players in Jaden Laverty and James Stewart down back. They're guys which, we made a decision to actually move them from our forward line to our back line, thinking that they could improve us as a team and be better players there. And I was really pleased with what we saw there. Disappointing and unfortunate for James Stewart at the end of the game, because he was starting to build some strong momentum.
Well, Gia, welcome to the Essendon Football Club.
Thanks, Tim.
Spent 20 odd years at the Western Bulldogs.
21.
Yeah,
yep.
It's a big move to go. Physically, it's not that far down the road, but in terms of moving from one club culturally to another club, it's a big move. How have you found the move so far?
Oh yeah, it's been outstanding. A lot of people ask me that, and to make that decision, it's been fully franked over the last 4 or 5 months with what I've been able to learn, but the relationships that I've been able to create already, and hopefully they continue to grow along the journey.
You played as a forward for most of your career. You're the backline coach now.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
It makes a lot of sense. So, what is it that you've been working hard on implementing in that short period of time that you've been at the club?
A bit about what Chuck just spoke about, that connection with the players. Obviously, there's some new guys down there that have getting exposed to new roles. So, with Chuck's background, and that's what we sort of talked about when we were discussing me coming across, was he'd already put things in place. I'm learning off him, but little tweaks that I could have made through what I'd learned at the Bulldogs and things like that. But really it was about that connection and working as a unit to get the best out of the guys and hopefully get them at their best to be able to take on those formidable forwards in the competition. So it was pleasing to see some good signs on Saturday night, and we'll just continue to grow as the season goes on.
Is he a good listener? I mean, you've come from another club. You put your hand up and say, look, I think there's a better way we can do this. You're confident enough to put it out there?
He's a very good listener.
How many years have you signed on for?
No, it's been great. The relationship's been good and it's continuing to grow.
How does all that work, though, in terms of at the start of the year, Truck? Do you sit down and you've got a clear idea and understanding how you want the team to play? But do you just sort of open it up and say, okay, boys, if you think there's a better way of doing this, let's listen, push it forward, let's have a listen to it?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what I want from the assistant coaches, is to provide new ideas, come up with solutions, watch other games. And, a little activity we did prior to Christmas, we got the coaches back for a week, and we set them all out different tasks to look at, for Gia, what are the best teams that are defending? What are they doing? Do some research statistically, have a look at some vision, and present it back to the coaches. So each of our coaches had a different task that we wanted to look at. How can we improve and how can we get better? And I think that was in itself was a good exercise. I think always, whenever you finish a season, we often jump straight into the review, but I don't think we often come up with many new ideas because we're constantly talking and thinking the same straight after a season. So we gave them a bit of a break and then came back with guys were refreshed. We'd watched the finals, we'd had a bit of a think and maybe read some books, whatever, but we brought back some new ideas to try and freshen the place up and come up with some new ideas about how we can improve.
Are you going to be a up in the box coach or down on the boundary line coach?
I think down on the bench to start off with. I've done that the last couple of weeks and really enjoyed it. I think it can be a bit frustrating sometimes up in the box because there's not much you can do and you feel a bit helpless at times. You get a good view of the game, but I think, we've got as we've spoken about, some new players playing in different positions or new players that are starting to forge their career, and I think it's a good opportunity for me to be down there, feeling what they're feeling, being able to talk to them straight off the bench. I think that's probably more beneficial for me at the moment.
And confident leaving Gia in control up in the box if you're not there?
Yeah. No, they're only a phone call away, but they go get some really good information from them, and because I don't get as good a view of the game, but I think it's valuable me being able to talk directly with the players.
And Josh, welcome to you too. Obviously, you've had an unbelievable grounding in AFL football as a player and administrator, spent most recently at the Melbourne Football Club. Are you finding yourself nice and comfortable and feet under the desk, all that type of thing at Essendon now, yeah?
Not quite sure nice and comfortable right now. I think it's the week before round one, there's always a fair bit going on. But it's been a busy now 3 months that I've been at Essendon, and it's been, for me, good to see a whole new environment. You get used to it being at Melbourne for such a long period of time and being involved in the journey to build Melbourne up to be the team they are now. But to come in to see different people, different roles, different voices, it's been really exciting. And probably the things that stood out for me is just how open people were. You touched on does Truck listen to other people? That's how open I think the playing group have been, and all the staff as well. That for new people to come in, all you want people to do is to just listen to your opinion. And that's what I've been really impressed with, both from the playing group and the staff, that they want to get better. They want to ultimately be a premiership team, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to get there.
Well, just over a week out from the start of the season, sort of what are you prioritising right now in your role?
Well, the first part for me is just getting a really good handle where Essendon's at in a number of different areas. The first part, the list, and looking at the talent and working with Adrian on where we think our list is at, because really that should dictate a lot of the programs that we've got around our players. And then the other part is just looking at all the different programs we've got. So it's quite clear with our list at the moment that there's a lot of people in different positions. There's a lot of people that are players that are young. We've probably got now 14 or 15 guys in their first or second year, which is a big number compared to a lot of AFL clubs. So it goes without saying that you should be focusing on development. And part of my role is making sure we've got the right resources in the right spots. So really being able to make sure that we've got the right people in looking after development, got the right resources there, that's probably a key part leading into this season.
I know a lot of people in the room would be wondering about Michael Hurley and his health and his fitness. Where's Michael at right now? Can you tell people?
Yeah, I've said it a few times, but it's probably a good and a bad thing that everyone saw him publicly at the game the other day. It was great that he was back at the club, but people saw how sick he actually was and how he looked. So he's got a battle ahead of him, but the pleasing thing is he's come into the club this week and he looks so much better already in a week. So the main thing is just get him healthy, and then we'll start to work on a plan on getting him back to play footy. But the thing that I've seen in my small time with Hurls, he just cares so much for the club. So already, even when he was still on a drip, he was asking, how can I help out with the young guys? How can I get involved in the welfare area? So, if he's not playing for the short term, we're going to get him, utilise him as much as we can.
Well, you're the backline coach, Jess. I'll ask you this question. So, Hurley, James Stewart had been earmarked to take that position. Who steps up now and plays that key role down back?
Yeah, well, we've got a VFL practice match tomorrow night, so there'll be a few guys pushing their claims. First real hit out for a few of them. So, but that's exciting. We've had a big group in the defence that's been training together. We haven't had match committee yet, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. And then we've got to look what Hawthorn do. I'm not sure they're overly big in the forward line, so you might be able to go a little bit smaller, but we'll assess that early next week.
Will Kyle Hooker go back, do you think, Ben?
Not at this stage, no. I think where we're at with Hurls and Stringer probably won't be available for round one, and Paddy Ambrose as well, who we were hoping to spend some time up forward. With those guys out, I think Hooksy improved again last week, and he had kicked 4 goals, which we don't expect him to do each week. We'd love him to, but we just expect him to compete really hard, and I think we need that at the moment up in our forward line. So, it provides another opportunity for someone else down back.
That chemistry with your back six, you look at the best sides in the competition and they've had their back six pretty stable for a number of years. I mean, they know each other's game back to front. How quickly can you build that with a new group of players?
Oh, well, that's the exciting part. But one thing we do preach, and which Truck touched on, was that it's pretty hard to defend when there's no pressure on the ball, and that's where the connection piece comes with forwards, mids. It makes the backs' job a lot easier. So, yes, we spend a lot of time together as a defensive unit in terms of those 6 or 7, but there's a reliance on the guys up the field, and that's why that connection piece is really important. We're continuing to work on that. So, the simple answer is I don't know, but hopefully it comes pretty quick.
I think we're all happy with the development of Sam Draper at the moment. I mean, that gives enormous boost to the midfield mix as well, Ben. I mean, we saw him at the weekend, his tap work at the centre bounce and that type of thing. I mean, he's a bloke that I would think has improved enormously in the last 12 months, but still seems to have a real upside to his performance.
I don't think he's played 10 games yet, so he's one of those guys who, he's got a presence and an excitement and a bit of an aura around him at the club for such an inexperienced player. So I can, see some real upside in him. He's not only great and aggressive, dominant ruckman that kind of protects the midfielders, which I really like in him, but he actually wants to join in everything, and he gets the ball too much a little bit for me, because he sometimes his ambition doesn't quite match his ability at the moment. But no, I'm really excited with Drapes and just building that chemistry amongst that midfield group. And I think that's certainly a strength of our guys, is we've got a good depth through our midfield, and especially up in our forward line with Parrish and Langford being able to play a bit more up forward, and Shield as well has looked to improve that part of his game as well, just to give another dimension to his game.
Josh, you've come from another club, and now you've cast your eye over Essendon in the period of time that you've been there. Do you see this group as a really coachable group of younger and older players?
Yeah, I think that stands out really, and even from the more experienced players. I mean, Dyson Heppel is learning at the moment, playing a different position, and the way he just goes into G's office all the time is trying to learn more about it, and that's led from the top. I mean, what we want to create at Essendon is a really strong learning environment where it's just a place where people just come to get better, and that has to be really strongly driven by the senior coach and the coaches about what that environment looks like. But once you set up that environment, it's valuing people's time, making sure they've got right programs in place, and the players already, they've bought into it. I mean, we've touched on it quite a bit, that there's a lot of newness in the team, new positions and new players, and the only way you develop that cohesion is by training together. And if you can't just wait on playing games together. You can actually value the 2 or 3 training sessions you have every week. It's every time you get to actually go in the craft, in the hangar, and do some work together. All that sort of stuff is about building that cohesion that you're talking about. We're not going to sit here and wait for them to play 100 games together, so we've got to fast track that as much as we can.
We're going to hear from Dyson Heppel a little bit later. He's going to interview some of the other younger players, and Zach Merritt's going to be up here as well. You've made some changes to the leadership group again this year. What is it specifically that you're looking for in that band and that group of leadership players?
Yeah, look, we've probably 2 parts to it. It probably links back to me. The advantage I've had over the last couple of years is I've had a really close look at all the players and see who's leading, who's doing the influencing, and who's helping us get better. And I think I really wanted to streamline the leadership process this year and have a smaller group of players to work with. And Zach obviously wasn't in the leadership group last year, but I think it's one of those things that we'll look back on and think that was the best thing that ever could have happened to Zach. I think the way he responded from that last year, it certainly knocked him around a bit. He's a proud guy, and he's got really, harbours really strong leadership aspirations. But he didn't, knocked him around a little bit, got the feedback he needed, and put the work in to actually build stronger relationships, have greater influence over a broader group of players, and to have him back in the leadership group along with Andy McGrath for the first time, who's just ready for that next level of responsibility. I think he's got his game well and truly in order now on the back of last year, and again, I think with that group with Hurls and Hep, there's a good cross section there's a diverse group. They connect with all of the playing group and have influence over different guys, but we're not expecting anyone to be the perfect leader. So that's why there's a bit of a diverse group there, but we've got a number of guys who have positive influence over our players. So we're expecting everyone to lead in their own way, but those 4 guys will be our leadership group, and they work really, really closely with me and the coaching group about driving the messages and ensuring we stay aligned to where we want to get to.
How do you think you'll feel when you're driving to your first game in about a week's time and you're full control of this machine? It's all in your hands. You're going to be nervous, anxious?
I'm not sure. I think I'll certainly be a bit nervous and a bit of anticipation. You probably get that any time leading into round 1, but the more of a sense of excitement. I'm actually, just watching the last 2 games where we've had a bit more of a hit out against opposition clubs. It's been, we're just finding stuff out new all the time. You know, to watch Nick Cox run around on the wing, have a 202 centimetre guy that wins your time trial running around on the wing, and I just don't know what we've got at our disposal yet. You know, and he doesn't know, and we don't know, and it's just going to be awesome to watch him grow and turn into the player he becomes. Watching a back line with, you know, grow and kind of build that connection and cohesion together. Seeing Peter Wright attack and crunch contests like he did, like, you know, Jai Caldwell complimenting our midfielders. Like, there's so many areas which, for me as a coach, I just want to see those guys improve, get better, enjoy their footy, and you know, that's kind of, I think that'll be my overwhelming sense going into the game, and you know, to see them grow in front of our eyes is going to be pretty good fun, I think.
I think it will be. You've got us all excited now about the season that lays ahead. Good luck to you, Ben. Gia, good luck to you, and also to you, Josh. No doubt we'll be talking to you many times throughout the course of the year for injury updates and things like that. Hopefully there's not too many of those conversations going on, but thanks so much for joining us today, both of you. Well, all of you, I mean. Ben, Gia, and also Josh.